So I got my first job when I was 13. Uh, Professional job. It was at a bakery in my town of Robinvale called Nui's Bakery. And the reason I got that job is because of a sticky bun. Now, if you don't know, a sticky bun is a cream bun with jam and cream in a sweet, soft dough bread, and it was amazing. Back in those days, a sticky bun was $2, and we didn't have a lot of spare money. So when I was in high school, I was allowed to have a lunch order every month. I think it was one lunch order a month, and I basically just got a pie and something else, or maybe two pies. But anyway, that's all I ever really got. And I always saw these sticky buns, and I just craved them. I wanted one. So at lunchtime at the canteen at the high school, Rumbell High, the Nui family used to run the bakery there, and I went to see the one of the owners, Tanina Nui, and I said to her, I went in the back door of the canteen and I said, if I sweep the floor, can I have a sticky bun? And she said, yeah, that's a good idea. So I swept the floor, gave it a good sweep, a good mop, and then she gave me a sticky bun. And she said, do you want to come back tomorrow? I said, yeah, sure. So at lunchtime, I went back to the canteen, and I swept the floor, stacked some drinks in the fridge and stuff like that. And then I got a pie, I think it was a pie and a sticky bun. And then she asked, do you want to come back again? So I basically did that like every day for a couple of weeks at the school canteen on my lunch break. It was probably only half an hour I did. But then she asked me at the end of that couple of weeks, do you want a job on the weekends at the bakery in town? And at this time, everything in Robinvale on a Saturday, the main street closed at 12 o'clock. And then there was local footy if there was a home game and stuff like that. Big sporting like community, as most country towns are. Anyway, I said, yeah, sure. So my parents had to drive me from our farm, which is about 25 k's out of town, from Rumble, towards Weeman. And Weeman is a big, settlement area, and that's where my grandfather's farm was and my parents' farm. So the speed my dad would drive was like slow as, so we would come into town. It would take about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to get into town, and he would drop me at the bakery at 7 o'clock, I think it was, and I would help Mr. Nui with pies and stacking shelves for Tanina, drinks and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, I think I got $10 an hour and like huge bags of bread and all the sticky buns I wanted to eat, and it was so good. And that was basically the start of my cooking journey, which was pretty cool. And then when I left home, like prior to that as well, I was working on the farm with my grandfather and helping my dad. Rounding up pigs, feeding pigs, sorting pigs, rounding up cows, sheep, mostly cows, and I had a horse named Brownie, and a horse named Coco, and I had my own cars from when I was in primary school. My first car was a Morris Minor I found on the farm, and one of the guys that lived on the farm, Raymond, this is when I was in primary school, helped me get it going. So I managed to get a battery and everything in it, but the alternator was a bit stuffed up, so we ended up changing that. And then used to drive this little Morris Minor around. It was so cool. And I think I had that when I was about 10. And it was just one of the old vehicles that just sat on the farm, and I got it going. Thanks to Raymond, obviously, not just me, Raymond and Steve, I think it was. Steven, yeah. And then from there, like I drove before I could ride a bike. Yeah, manual. Didn't have automatic back then. Well, it wasn't common anyway. I don't think I drove an automatic until I was in high school. Yeah. But anyway, and then when my mum passed around, no, sorry, my nana, I got her car, which was a Ford Escort, a little purple one, and that was a little 4-speed manual. That was so cool. But that's a little bit off subject. So yeah, I think that's today's video. I thought it'd be cool to share with people how I started. Thanks to a sticky bun, I'm now still cooking 30 something years, which is crazy, because I think my friend Freddie is the only one that still cooks. Well, he's a teacher. Him and my mate Stu, they're teachers. Hopefully I'll do some videos with them, because they're pretty, well, they think they're funny. They're not that funny, but we had some pretty interesting chats, so that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, what I was saying was Freddie's probably the only guy I know that's cooked past 20 years now, I think. Yeah. So anyway, we don't have a very long shelf life in hospitality. A lot of people go off and do other things, but we have some pretty exciting news coming up, actually. So stay tuned. I think you guys have to like and subscribe in order to keep this channel going, but I saw it's pretty crazy. I got 20 something subs. Never had that many subs. So this is pretty cool. Thank you for everyone that's watched my video. See you soon.